Good afternoon, USA, and welcome to another episode of the Bernie or Bust Show. Today's sordid tale involves Elizabeth Warren and her daughter. It also involves the previous story I've shared with you about the wiki proof that the Clinton machine was behind the flood of new Democratic presidential hopefuls. This story just gets deeper and deeper and gooier and gooier. We recently talked about the Working Families Party and how they sold Bernie down the river and endorsed Elizabeth Warren instead. I made the point in that episode that the labor force has to be energized to give any kind of impetus to take down big money and to remove corruption from politics. The engine driving reform has to be the labor movement, and Bernie's all about empowering unions, not so much Elizabeth. But the plot thickens. The first point of the article that I wrote for Medium was that there are people in Hollywood, talent agency executives, namely Michael Kives and Darnell Strom, who are connected to the Clinton family, have raised money for their presidential campaigns, both Clintons, and have a number of thought leaders in their stables. Thought leaders are what they call people like news anchors or actors or talk show hosts or late night comedians, or just on their circuit of people who go around speakers. They're paid speakers. We talked about Spike Lee in this article. We talked about Jessica Alba in this article. We've talked about how everything seems to be connected in Los Angeles through the Hollywood talent agencies and these thought leaders. It almost seems like they're taking their messages from the same place. This started with Robbie Jaeger and Nico House and Sofia Zalvidar talking about, they're the ones who broke this story, and others have taken it up. Graham Elwood has talked about it, and the more you pull away the layers of this story, the worse it gets. We've already talked about that. You can go back and watch another episode of the Bernie or Bust Show for more information, or you can read the Medium article that I'll link to down below. But the latest development in this story, make sure you read about Cenk Uygur and who his talent agency exec or company is. But the latest development is, I just get pulled in by this article, all the stuff that I've already said, but I'll go on. Update, September 29th, we have a post by Heather Moore, who is a whistleblower against United Health. And she's saying that after Elizabeth Warren endorsed Working Families Party candidates and after Warren's daughter's organization, Demos, donated $45,000 to Working Families Party for the first time ever, Working Families Party early endorsed Warren. And she says, no quid pro quo here, nothing to see, just move along. Warren's campaign treasurer is Paul Egerman, billionaire bundler of dark money, devotee of David Brock, who built one of the largest super PAC dark money networks in Washington, D.C. He's a financial advisor to the healthcare industry and is known as the personal PAC man. Surprise, he's also the treasurer of the Working Families Party board and the treasurer of Demos, which is the organization that Amelia Warren, Elizabeth's daughter, is the president of. So no wonder Warren has been meeting with HRC, Queen of Corruption. No wonder she's made such a point of being a capitalist and not a democratic socialist. No wonder she's backing away from Medicare for All. No wonder she's made it clear that she'll take corporate money in a general election. It all makes sense now. She's being pushed by MSM, and the DNC, and Working Families Party now because they know she is corruptible. Scratch that. already corrupted. That intrigued me, needless to say, that intrigued me. So I started to look into Paul Eggerman, Elizabeth Warren's campaign treasurer. I'd never heard of him before. He and his wife, Joanne, have given more than $8.4 million to various Democratic candidates and PACs, according to a Center for Public Integrity analysis of Center for Responsive Politics data. All these are linked in the article, so you can go read this for yourself. Of that amount, Eggerman has contributed $1.7 million to the pro-democratic super PAC American Bridge 21st Century, which is also affiliated with a dark money group, raising political cash that can't be traced to its original source. In 2012, he gave $56,000 to Rethink PAC, a super PAC that helped Warren in her successful campaign to unseat U.S. Senator Scott Brown, Republican, Massachusetts. This rabbit hole goes down a long way, just with Eggerman. He also serves as a conduit between Democrats and big dollar political donors. For example, he's the board treasurer for Democracy Alliance, a network of wealthy Democratic donors that help support liberal causes, and has counted liberal mega donors such as George Soros, Donald Sussman, and Tom Steyer among its members. Now, Donald Sussman is another rabbit hole. I'll just jump over here to another article I had to update. We were talking about MSNBC smearing Bernie Sanders and Mimi Rocha, and I've talked about that already, so I won't go back over that. But I had to update this article to Emily Tish Sussman, this Sussman's daughter. And what we see here, she was smearing Bernie, and again, the sexist smear like Mimi did. And we follow the money. She isn't some random commentator. She's the daughter of DCCC mega donor and CAP board member Donald Sussman. Her father has also made max donations to Debbie Wasserman Schultz and David Brock's Correct the Record. I've talked about this too. All of this stuff is in previous episodes of the Bernie or Bust show. His company was the largest donor to Hillary Rodham Clinton. This is who is smearing Bernie. This is Emily Sussman's dad's boat. This is Emily's mom. She's a magnate. She's an heiress of the oil industry. She's big oil. There's her net worth. I got a lot of this information from David Dole. You can watch his clip here. But it's what interests me the most is how all of these stories connect to each other. It's like a big fungus, and it's growing under the ground, and we can't see where it's growing, but every once in a while something ugly and oozy pops up to the surface, and we can see what's going on. So that was Sussman. Now back to Eggerman. In 2014, he also hosted an ultra-exclusive Democratic senatorial campaign committee fundraiser at his Massachusetts home. He lives in Massachusetts. President Barack Obama attended. The entry price per person, $32,400. This is according to the Boston Globe. This part right here, Eggerman also serves as a conduit between Democrats and big dollar political donors. This is Elizabeth Warren's campaign treasurer, for heaven's sakes. We got to pay attention to this. This is Amelia. She's the co-founder of United Healthcare Group, and the whistleblower I mentioned earlier they're trying to crush her. It's United Healthcare that's trying to crush her. And so there's where that comes in. And that's why I picked up on the story. It was posted in a Facebook group talking about the corruption of Elizabeth Warren via her daughter, Amelia Warren Tiagi, co-founder and president of Business Talent Group, a business management consultancy based in Los Angeles. So here's some more talent agency stuff. Tiagi's bio notes she is the chairman of Demos, a progressive think tank, or Demos, however you say that. She's co-founder of Health Allies, a health benefits firm now owned by United Health Group. So is it in her best interests to promote Medicare for all? single payer Medicare for all. That would put her out of business. So her think tank recently made a donation, three 15,000 donations in a row, to Working Families Party in New York. Working Families Party recently endorsed Elizabeth Warren. That is to say that the party leaders endorsed Elizabeth Warren. The rank and file probably chose Bernie Sanders. And here's an article on Jacobin that talks about that. So the Working Families Party received 3 different donations from Demos before it announced its decision to endorse Elizabeth Warren. So I guess they were holding out for top dollar. And Elizabeth's daughter, Amelia, is the chairwoman of Demos. In 2018, Demos gave $45,000, but had never previously given to the Progressive Party in the past. There was a backlash, Working Families Party backlash, after it chose to endorse Warren over Bernie Sanders, whom they supported in the 2016 presidential elections. So then you've got the backing for those claims. You can read these. And then this is my conclusion. If you're connecting the dots, it's not a stretch to say that the Clinton machine, Hollywood talent agencies, and their clients, the thought leaders, Dr. Phil, for example, who is represented by United Talent Agency, was the person who gave Elizabeth Warren her first big break on his television show. She went from a wonky Harvard professor to somebody that got attention nationally thanks to Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil, represented by United Talent Agency, Elizabeth was given money by executives before she, and I said this earlier in the article, she was given money by talent agency executives, and she went into the race this time. She held back last time. She didn't run against Hillary, and a lot of people wondered why. People were begging her. Crystal Ball said she was begging her to run against Hillary. She held back against Hillary, but then when Bernie was there, the existential threat to health insurance providers, for some reason Elizabeth jumped into the fray that time. I didn't know about Elizabeth's daughter when she chose to announce her candidacy, but it isn't a stretch to think about why Elizabeth is in the fray this time and wasn't last time. Centrist think tanks such as Third Way and Center for American Progress and the DNC are working behind the scenes to kill single-payer Medicare for all. Elizabeth Warren has become the linchpin of this strategy. Progressive Democrats and independents who still think that Sanders and Warren are 2 slightly different progressive flavors are being used as pawns in this game. We all need to make sure that the truth about what is going on under the surface gets out past the media blockade. Now, this article, for me anyway, went pretty viral. It's got, I don't remember, 15,000 views or something. So this is an update to an article that's already making the rounds, but I did update the title. So if you're interested in continuing to get this information out, it's a big part of why Elizabeth Warren is running this time and didn't run last time. And I hope you'll continue to share this article. It's up to a 13-minute read now, but you don't have to read all of it. You just need to use it mostly as a source of information. I've documented everything I've said in this article, and you can go check all the sources. You can send me messages. You can contact me on Facebook. You can make comments under this video. I think this story is going to keep developing, and I appreciate any leads that you can provide. So, happy Sunday. I hope to see you tomorrow, and keep on burning.